Hello everybody, Tygrax Plays here, and welcome back to another episode. This episode, I was thinking that we would possibly build up our center town. I know that's something a lot of you have been wanting, and I decided instead of planning and survival, we just wing it. Primarily because the builds are so crazy and so random that I think we could do a pretty good job by just taking the skills that we have and trying things out. Remember, the center area is residential. There's no actual trade here. So we're looking for kitchens and beds and just homely stuff. We'll build up the alleyways and the paths throughout the town that branch out through everything else. And that will be our project for today. So let's gather some materials and then we can start. All right, let's go. So before we start the town, I thought we would place the rest of our lanterns and poles down below, primarily because I've been doing a lot of mining, as you can see in the far back, where we're oxidizing our copper. So let's go and place those lanterns down, and then we'll start on the town. So if you can remember, we originally just put 4 lanterns down because copper was incredibly hard to find. So I did some off-camera mining and got a lot of copper. I don't think I've strip mined so much in my life, but hey, we found some, so that's good. The way this works is 1, 2, 3. And like that. And we can do that for the rest of them. There we go, we have those lanterns up, and then these 4 are gonna go here. You can't place lanterns on bushes. And there we have it. We have our entire area lit up, so we don't have to worry so much about any skeletons spawning under the tree. Now the next thing we need to figure out is exactly what kind of builds we want here, and the kind of materials that we're going to use. If we look at the structure like the tower or the cartographer, we mainly used smooth sandstone for walls, so anything like pillars or corners, we'll use the smooth sandstone. For everything else, we'll use the cut sandstone for borders, and we'll also use the normal sandstone for filling in the walls to add more texture. So we're gonna go around and we're gonna put in some of the borders, and then we'll stop when we start thinking about where we want windows and so on. So sit back and enjoy the speed run. So we're going to look at this build right here that we're building into some of the sand. We've gone 3 up high for the corners. We've used the cut sandstone for an accent on the bottom base area, as well as trimming off where we want our top layer to go. The other reason why we did that and that we use the pillars in this way is so we can expand higher up. So the base floor on the second floor is also in the cut sandstone. That way we can continue building up. 1, 2, 3. And 1, 2, 3. That way we now have a second story, and it's actually not that bad. We use the cut sandstone again to make the roof area. And this could be the exit from the top half. So we enter through the bottom, come up through maybe stairs leading up, and this could exit this way so that they can have more accessibility to their home. Not all of the houses are going to be so square. But for now, this is what we have. We want it to be spacious enough so that we can put different type of elements inside the house, and we also want it to make sense. So using this pattern, it makes it a lot easier to build what we're looking for. Using this pattern makes it a lot easier to figure out how we want the house to be. So we're gonna leave some of the natural terrain, like this right here. It needs to stay. But then everything else that is either in netherite needs to be placed down. We'll do the same for here. And you may be thinking, oh, but there's this underbit right here. That's fine, we'll add detail later. But for now, we're just trying to figure out the structure. You want to make sure that all sides show appropriately, and it does. You want to finish off the roof. Another thing I want to start working on is that the roof doesn't have to necessarily be sandstone. We want to add a little bit of color so that the building actually shows up in the map. So we're going to take some acacia wood and we're going to turn them into slabs. We're probably going to need a lot more than that because we're going to be doing this for the majority of the homes. Mind you, this is the center of town, so even though we're decorating it in this style, that doesn't mean that it's going to be every house in all the locations. This is just the residential area, so this is just how they're going to be for now. In like the more educated, rich location by the library, the cartographer, and our main base, we'll use more stone and different types of stone to show that it's upper class. So while we're up here, we're going to want to put the slabs on top. The reason why we're doing this is that so when we're inside the building, it doesn't feel like the wood is flush to the ceiling. Then, when this is all done here, we're going to take some cut sandstone slabs and we're going to fill in this area. This will leave us with two things we can do. One, we can put down torches so we don't get any enemies spawning on the roofs, which is really annoying. And two, it actually looks pretty nice from the outside. Gives us a cool little texture at the top. So let's do that for the other two sections. And there we have it. It looks pretty nice so far. So we're gonna go further down. When you look in the inside, you can see now that it looks a lot more spacious, and it doesn't feel like the roof is coming down on your head. Another thing we want to look into is structure. So even though the pillars are holding up the building, what we need is a little bit more structure. So we're going to go quickly grab some stairs so that we can implement this structure. Remember, we want everything to make sense. So if something is heavy, like sandstone, we need there to be certain things there that can hold the sandstone in place. So we're gonna grab some smooth sandstone stairs. This is gonna be a tongue twister for me almost every episode. And we're going to add them up on the pillars. One here, 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 and here. This way it looks like the structure is being held up, which is what we're looking for. So we're gonna get rid of this area right here, and we're going to hollow out the rest of the build. So now that we have the hollowed out bit here, we're going to make sure that we put the flooring, which is gonna be the acacia wood, up on the top layer. Once again, it's going to make the roof seem like it's a little bit more spacious, as well as allowing us to place things on the upper floor. Also remember that while we're designing, we don't want any creepers to randomly spawn. So in the meantime, let's put down some torches so we don't have some unfortunate deaths, i.e. me dying and the series being over, because that would be terrible. And we're going to do the same for this area. Just for now, eventually we'll place lanterns and things around so that we don't have to worry about that. But we do want to remember that this will be our upper exit and that will be our lower exit. Though we have this center pillar, which is very cool, we may not want to put more cut sandstone slabs up here because it might be a little contrasty. What we can do is add stairs. And instead of smooth sandstone stairs, we can use the normal ones for a little bit more. They still work the same, but they add a little bit more to the builds, like so. Adding a little bit more texture to the build, but not being too crazy. And because we added this detail here, we can then use the cut sandstone right here for a little bit more added effect. Use the sandstone in this part for the doorway, and then fill in the rest for this location. Like that. It adds a little bit more, but it's enough. Now, one of the bigger things that we need to keep in mind is that it's very boxy, and we want to make sure that we don't make it too boxy. So one of the things we can do is we can bring out this door area. So we're gonna break this down and we're gonna bring it out. Then we're gonna use the smooth sandstone stairs and go 1, 2, 3. Though, if we wanted to be more creative, we could technically use the acacia wood stairs to add a little bit more pop of color on the outside. So let's do that now. It's not too bad, but there's still little things missing here and there. As much as I kind of like that, it's not exactly what I'm going for. One of the things I like about this upper floor is that it shows a lot of the area around, though we will have buildings here and there. But they're going to be around the same height as this building, but they're going to be lower down. So one of the things we want to think about is, one, we want to prevent the villagers from being able to jump out here in fear and fall and hurt themselves, because that's not good. But the other thing we want to do is we want to make this look nice and presentable. So how we can do that is by adding our windows. And we can use the same method that we used for the cartography, and that is trapdoors, dirt, and the azalea leaves. Thankfully, we have pretty much all of that, so we can work on that to make it look really pretty. And there we go, we have a box. We're going to do that for the other ones as well. So if we take our smooth sandstone, we want to figure out where this balcony can reach. I would say probably about here. And that adds like a really cool texture. Now for our wall down below, we want to try to keep it as consistent, and only the sides we're going to disturb, nothing else. And then we're going to put the cut sandstone on the base again. And we can use just normal sand to fill in this part. And there we have it. The inside here. Something else we could do is we could break out here, make this into a window so that we can peer out. And on this area, like we talked about before, we could make it an accent, taking the sandstone stairs and filling it in. We don't have to do the whole thing because it looks like the sand has coated this area right here. Now, chiseled sandstone I don't like to use a lot of just because it's super highly detailed, but it is really good for small tiny things. So we take out the window bits here and add that here. This little signature window has actually improved. It looks a lot better. As well as this entrance here. It looks nice, but it would look nicer if we took out these bottom bits and replaced them like such. See? Loads better. I don't want to do it for every base, as I want this to look like a single pillar that's holding it up. But the tiny little accents here and there do add a lot. One of the things we also have to remember is that for deserts, it's really, really hot. So having lots of windows, especially in an upper section of a house, would be very common. So now that we have a cool balcony, and we have at least the foundation to our new house, as much as this is okay, I think we should move this out for a type of balcony as well, but something above. Now have our cool little railing and our cool balcony. Looks more like a lounge area, but we're gonna go and we're gonna collect some beds, preferably 2. And this could be the bedded area with some decorations. Here's the kitchen. You come up here, maybe there's some lounge areas, and we can do some hanging lights. We can put them above. So let's get some lanterns and do that. Now we have a really cool setting. And now we have a very decorated house. Now that we have this first house done, let's do a whole other bit of houses. I will see you when those houses are done. Now, while building a diagonal house, we need to think pretty much along the same lines, where all the corners will be the 1, 2, 3s, like so, and all the bottoms will be the cut sandstone. Now, these types of build are very awkward. Normally, I would put a door in this location, and I can still do that, but it's going to be kind of strange in order to do. We want the doors to be opening inward. So if we were to, we would need to get the doors and they would need to sit in the inside. So one there and one there. And they would open inward. They wouldn't have the space to prevent the zombies from entering, which means they could break down the door. However, it does look really cool. Because it's diagonal, we could have a block above it, which would create a shadow, which we could put a lantern in the way, but then it would block the view. Now we look at this section and it looks a little bit odd, just a wee bit. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna add a little bit of detail. I know that diagonal walls are a little bit awkward, but with a little bit of play, they're bound to look good in the end. Now normally, I would have the accents like those red ones up there, but because we can't do that with diagonal builds, makes it a little bit more trickier. What I like to do in these circumstances is to add trees. So that ideally is something that we would like to see grow. And that looks really, really nice right there. And then we don't have to worry so much about the diagonal. So we're gonna do the same thing on this side. And it's coming together, everyone. All right, let's go update our map right here. Wow, don't those look cool? There's a lot more green growing in our location. We've been building so long that pretty much all of our copper have oxidized. So let's mine this copper and put it in our pool and put our first axolotl that's been named in that pool. Now, like I said before, all the terracotta is supposed to be oxidized cut. So we're gonna quickly go and put that out. There we go, we have a full pool of oxidized copper. Gotta add some more water to level it out. And there we go, we have our super pretty pool. So let's add our first axolotl, who is Gobby. There you go, Gobby. Enjoy your new home. And since we filled in the pool and we've added Gobby, I thought it was time to name another axolotl. Thank you very much for the suggestion from Doge Plays for the name Professor Head Booper. And now Professor Head Booper will join Gobby in the pool. There you go. Now, if anyone else watching wants to name one of the axolotls, we still have the pink axolotl left. So if you have any names in mind, let me know in the comments below. Oh my gosh, the black cat. I want a black cat so bad. I own a black cat, so I would love to get this cat as mine. No, don't run away, don't run away, come on. Love me, black cat, love me. Stupid golem. Scaring my cat away. No, come back. Come back. Love me. This cat is stubborn. I have tamed a lot of animals. This cat, it's not cooked though. Such a friggin'... Yay! I have a black kitty. Follow me, black cat. Come on. that's as much time as we have for today, everyone. Thank you for joining me. Let me know what you think about the builds below and what we should do next time. All right, I'll see you around. Bye.